Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerOptions.com, and in today's free video I wanted to follow up on a few of the ideas that I'd shared on Friday. First here with Bank of America. Now Bank of America I'm going to be a little bit quicker with, and then we'll go into some details on Citigroup. But a couple of the things that you like to look for on this is that first, the underlying has reclaimed the 21 EMA. So that got started on Friday, and it reclaimed that level with solid volume. Today was much lower volume, but you didn't see any real shift in that idea. We're also above all of our broad moving averages with the 50, 100, and 2. And these are just a couple more things that help confirm this to the buy side for me. Now you can see I also have the weekly chart up, where I'm comparing essentially the 10 and 34 moving averages against the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. The more important part is the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels. And when you drop down or change the time frame back into a daily chart, what you're trying to do on this is get your entry at the same time that you start to see these Bollinger Bands pop outside of the Keltner channels. So with today's kind of lackluster session, there wasn't a whole lot of that, and you can see that they actually contracted in a little bit deeper on a daily basis. When you see that start to turn back out, that will be one indication that you can start getting into that position, and ideally get into it just before it takes off. In a perfect world, that is one way to do it if you're trying to use the Bollinger Bands and Keltner channels to time that. Another way to look at that is doing it here in Citigroup. Take a quick look at that daily chart just to let you know what we're looking at in this. It's essentially the exact same thing. You have recovered that 21-day moving average. The parabolic SAR has shifted in your favor. And you can also see a very nice squeeze that's developing here on the daily chart. Okay, if you want to try and tie in that Bollinger Band analysis, that's great. If you want to look at a little bit more in the way of fib work, the 15-minute chart is usually pretty reliable for that. And in this particular example, I like using it because you can see, I always tell people maybe blur your vision a little bit to help see these moves. But inside this trend, what I'm trying to find are rallies that haven't been able to shift the otherwise bearish stance on that. Then you take those levels, project them from the current low, and this is where you'll begin to create clusters of resistance. So if you wanted to look at it from a super aggressive standpoint, you have already cleared your first 15-minute swing, which I would consider right here. But a more conservative stance, or at least the way I'll be looking at it, is to first clear this zone from 47.09 into 47.04. And then once you get through that, you've got 47.17 back down just a couple cents lower. So that is a little bit more micro work, but if you're sitting here day trading this stuff, you will find that helpful in confirming your entries and avoiding things like this that otherwise would have forced you to sit through a little bit more heat. And those are some of the main signals that I'll be focused on as we get into Tuesday. So I hope you find that helpful. I also wanted to make you aware of a webinar that we're going to be having on Wednesday. This Wednesday, October 5th, from 7 p.m. Central to 8. This is going to be with John Carter and Raghee. It is a completely free video or free webinar on how they're going to be looking to trade the election opportunities. So some of the best macroeconomic analysts that I know of, I'm looking forward to getting a lot out of that webinar. And if that's something you're interested in, I hope to see you there. Have a great night, and we'll touch base at the next free video.